Yesterday morning, I wanted to make a video about Nick Cannon and Future, the rapper. Nick Cannon, I believe, has had 8 children. I think he may have lost one. So he might have 7 children from, I think, 4 or 5 different mothers. Future, I believe, might also have 8 children. Might be from 8 mothers, I think, or from 7 mothers. I'm not really sure. I wanted to speak about these guys because I myself have got 6 children from 4 mothers, and I do plan to have more children and from more mothers as well. And I've spoken about this freely on platforms on social media, and I've been attacked, of course, and dragged by different people. I understand, I don't really blame them. But I just wanted to speak about it from my perspective. Just from my perspective. I'm not speaking on behalf of men. I'm not speaking on behalf of polygamists. I'm not speaking on behalf of even these celebrities. I don't know what their lives are about. Bob Marley had a lot of kids as well. I think from 3, may have been 3 or 4 mothers. Jacob Zuma, as some of us know. Last I checked, he had 23 children. I'm not sure from how many mothers, but I know that he at some point had 5 wives. But I know some of the children are not from his wives. So he may have had 7, 8 baby mamas. And there's a whole host of other people. One of my heroes is, I don't know if he was the last king of Eswatini before the current one, Mswati. King Sobhuza, I think the second, who had 210 children from 70 mothers. Come on! Boza! Shy people, shy cows, yes, 210 children. I don't know if it was from 70 mothers, but I think he had 70 wives. Obviously, the maths and the dynamics of that for a normal person are like, what the fuck? How do you even maintain 70 wives? When are you having sex with them? When are you seeing them? But it's because of our current Western modernistic way of living that we don't get these things, So I don't blame you, Shem. I don't blame all the people that dragged me for having 6 children from 4 mothers. I was raised like you guys. I'm not different in terms of my conditioning. I went to church. I was baptized Roman Catholic. I went to decent white schools where I excelled. I was a top student during my primary school and high school years. I did well at university level as well. I've watched the same movies that you guys have watched. Maybe a few more that you guys haven't, but I've watched the same movies. I've listened to the same music. I've been subjected to the same leadership that you guys have been subjected to. So the way we were raised, of course, is from a young age, we had these chips implanted in our heads of how we're meant to see the world and what dreams and goals we're meant to aspire to. Some of those goals, of course, were to get a matric while doing well at school, go to university, get a degree, and then after that, go and get a good job, what they called a good job. In my years, it was being an accountant, being an engineer, being a lawyer, being an actuary, being a doctor, dokotela, and then after you get your good job, then you're ready then to then find a partner to marry, wife, a husband. And then now that you guys are married, you can now buy a home, get a bond, and then after that, have your children. Normally, without really giving a number, but almost all of us have kind of been convinced through various forms of subliminal programming of, 2 or 3 children is a good number. And then after that, you guys focus on your career, make as much money as you can, see if you can invest on the side, have a decent pension fund, and then at the age of 60 to 65, then you retire and you either take your money and you travel the world, or you build a business while you're enjoying quality time with your grandchildren, and then you prepare to die. That's kind of the script almost all of us in various forms are sold. I mean, even if you look at the movies today, this is kind of the narrative of what's a normal life and a normal family. And deviating from that is frowned upon, very much. And when you argue with people, they can't fully explain why they frown upon you being different. But it's because of this chip that has been planted in your head and that has constantly been programmed over the years. Unfortunately, we've got this chip and these dreams in a time when the world is changing around us. And some of these things we want to do, they don't fit. We want to not date. We want to focus on our schooling career and our work career, and then magically find the love of our life somewhere once and then marry them. And yet we've been given all these freedoms to date whoever we want, to sleep with whoever we want without consequence. Obviously, culturally, we had things like in Tlaulo, girls weren't allowed to just freely roam around and be chilling and chatting with boys. Even from a church Christian perspective, for those of you who are Christian, even more so because it's stricter in the Islamic beliefs. Girls and boys aren't just friends. You don't hang around and become mates. There's courtship and there's gender splitting of some sort in the socialization. Even if you look at some of the boys' schools and girls' schools, it was an attempt to split the genders until further notice. But today we're free, and women are free, of course. So because women are free and some of their role models, again, going to conditioning, Nicki Minaj, Cardi B, maybe someone like Beyonce, some of our local celebs, Brenda Fassie, Lebo Matosa, we've got a Kelly Kumalo, some of these more liberal women, who we're seeing out there. We have people like, Madonna, back in the day. Liberal women who are going around dating different men, marrying different men, about Jennifer Lopez, and that were making their own money, independent women. And then those women somehow magically think they're going to find a man that's going to treat them like an old school woman and marry them and and then go back to jumping onto the script. After you've slept with everyone, after you've enjoyed vacations and been a slay queen and posted on Instagram and all these weird things that don't make sense. And for men as well, of course, men couldn't go around sleeping with women. There were consequences to that. Obviously, from a church perspective, you'd be sinning. From a cultural perspective, you'd be punished. Your family would be asked to pay damages. You'd probably be whipped as well because you were disrespecting your family's rules. Anyways, so we've all been conditioned the same, myself as well. And obviously, when I started dating, I officially started dating when I was in grade 10. I think I was a bit late. I'm not really sure, but I was in grade 10. I was 15 years old at the time. Started dating then. I had a good run. I think I dated 3 or 4 girls in high school. And then I got to varsity and I met a girl that I really, really loved very much. And we dated for 4 years before we broke up. And in that 4 years, I saw other girls. I was young. I was excited. I was seeing girls. We were free. Of course, we are a party. We are a party. We have freedom and independence. And I've constantly done this thing in my head of analyzing just where I am, what I'm doing, how far I am from the script and how I'm meant to be. I used to joke in my first year when I was 18 that I wanted 10 kids. And people would be like, which woman's going to give you 10 kids? And I'd joke and I'd be like, no, man, obviously it can't be one woman. It can be like, there has to be different women. But it was a joke at the time. I conceived my first child and he was born in in 2010. And I tried my best to be a TV perfect dad. I moved in with the mom. We used to attend the gynae appointments. I bought pregnancy magazines. I was reading up and watching videos on how to be a father. Luckily I had training with my younger sister back when I was in grade 7, 8 on changing nappies and babysitting. So I felt I was ready. And I've always wanted to be a father. I've always wanted to be a dad. It's one of those things I can't explain. For other men, I think in the modern era, I think men are going to, and boys in particular, are going to have to be trained from a young age how to hold a baby, how to change a nappy, because times have changed. So I think training is going to be needed because a lot of people are now scared, petrified of being fathers. And then women as well, petrified of falling pregnant, of being moms. And again, it's from the conditioning. And some of this conditioning is from back home where your own mother demonizes falling pregnant, demonizes having a child. And weirdly enough, those same mothers when you're 25, 30 are like, how manje ingane uzoyithola nini? And you're like, bitch, how fucking dare you? Like, you're the one that demonized sleeping with boys and falling pregnant. And I'm not married. I don't have money. And now all of a fucking sudden you're telling me, hey, phela sengiyaguga manje. How? So banini nathi ogogo phela sike sigado abezukulu bethu. And it's a weird dynamic. You know, my sister now is 24 and my mom is trying to push this pressure of, Aibo, when are you having kids? And my sister's like, Aibo, oh lady, please, I'd like to live my life. You know, I'm still doing my master's. I want to earn my salary and enjoy my money. Again, because there's a script that she's bought into that a lot of young girls have bought into. We have a biological clock. The clock is worse for women, sadly, and it breaks my heart in particular. From the age of about 12 on average, it can be younger, it can be a bit older, the female body begins releasing eggs. Biologically and naturally, that means the woman's body is now ready to begin taking in sperm, semen, and creating life forms, you know. I don't know medically, biologically, if a woman should be, or a girl should be beginning to have sex at 12 so she can start falling pregnant. We've seen some of the data, of course, and people have lost their marbles. Teen pregnancies in high school, in primary school, the numbers are insane. People are like, yo, these girls were raped by teachers. And sometimes it's not. It's just because young boys, they were sleeping with young boys. Or they were sleeping with old men and it was the girls that initiated. And it's because we are natural animals. You know, there's a biology involved in who we are as beings. The whole concept of age and school is something that was brought in by the West and capitalism and by the Industrial Revolution. It's not nature. Nature doesn't say you must go to school. Nature doesn't really care that you're 15. Nature's like, biologically, your body is now ready for something. I would recommend, look, 12 is a bit young, especially because our conditioning and our training from a young age is we baby and we spoil kids for too long. And that's why you find even 25-year-olds that are struggling with adulting. Adulting is very easy. Adulting is fucking easy. If you are an adult. If you're not an adult and you're still a child and you're still expecting mom and dad to do something for you and you're still waiting for Mlungu to give you a job and you're still waiting for a rich boyfriend to do things for you, then you're not an adult. That's when adulting will show you fucking flames. It's not just for girls, for men as well. You want to beat your chest and be like, yeah, you know, women don't respect us any. What must they respect in you, my nigga? You don't have an ability to generate cash. You don't have a place to stay. You're scared of being a father. You always want to drink with the boys and escape and numb your fucking horrendous existence. You're not a person that can be trusted with decision making. You outsource your decision making to politicians, to pastors. Your woman can't even be protected by you. If something happens to her, you, my nigga, will be the first to call the police. Because you don't have a gun. You don't know how to fight. You have to outsource basic home tasks. Plumbing, electrical work, changing light bulbs, doing the gardening. Your woman is driven around by an Uber because you're not driving her around. So why should she respect you? Worse yet, she's making her own money. She fundamentally doesn't need you. She probably only needs you for sperm and sex. And even then, sperm can be bought and sex she can kind of get from anyone because niggas are fucking offering dick on a daily. So why should she respect you? That's why, my cheetah, you guys are seeing fucking flames. And these women are showing you fucking flames. Because you've got no substance. And your fathers were absent. And your grandfathers were absent. And your great-grandfathers and your great-great-grandfathers lost the land to white people. It only makes sense that if you're born with a penis, as a black person in particular, you're the bottom of the food chain. Women can at least hide and be like, well, we weren't fighting white people. You know, we were at home raising your kids. And, you know, so you guys failed us. So we're scared and we have a biological clock. 12 might be a bit young, but I think 16 is a good age. And people can drag me and I don't care. Luckily, as much as I was conditioned like you guys, I managed to find the chip. And thanks to some of the content that I've read, movies and videos that I've watched, conversations I've engaged in, and I think some of my ancestors who live within me are so powerful in my brain and in my body that they have managed to flush out some of the conditioning that has been forced into me. Whereas some of you, shame, have struggled and the conditioning has completely colonized your mind. My ancestors within myself were stubborn and strong enough to fight. And that's why when alternative education and teachings come through, my ancestors within myself are happy to engage it. You know, when someone speaks about the African New Year is meant to start in our spring, which is in September, my brain says that makes logical sense. It's what us woke people call the critical thinking, independent thinking, the ability to take information and not just take it as fact, but process it. It means somewhere inside your brain, as much as you've been conditioned all these years, you still have the ability to take information and look at it from what we call a logical, common sense perspective. 12 might be a bit young. 16 is a good age for a girl to begin falling pregnant. Maybe not 16, 18. Importantly, of course, is from a young age, we're meant to be teaching young girls that your body is designed to carry life. And begin from a young age 2, 3, to get little kids to begin babysitting little kids. Age 5, 6, little girls should be able to change nappies. 8, 9, 10, they should babysit completely, be able to make formula, be able to feed a baby, be able to look after a baby for a couple of hours. We see it a lot happening in poorer neighborhoods because the mother's unavailable. Maybe she's drunk somewhere. So little kids are forced to babysit little kids. But naturally, that's actually who we were designed to be, naturally and biologically. So that by the time she's 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, she's been raising kids. She's been educated on my body is actually designed to bear children. I'd like to think even culturally, amachichi, intombi, izintombi, maziyohlolwa, maziyohlala nomama abadala. These were meant to be the teachings of ntombazane njoba ukhula uyintombi uyitshitshi. Umsebenzi wakho njoba ukhula ukuthi komele uthole phela insizwa ephelele. Uyizalele ingane, you know, and it was biological. We were in line with nature, like in the movie Avatar or the movie Apocalypto. In line with nature. 18, you have kids. 20 is also still a good age. 25, 28, biologically, women begin losing their eggs faster from 28. So 28 is the peak. And sadly, for a lot of girls today, 28, a lot of girls haven't even thought of having kids. Some of them are still trying to get a job. 30, up to 35, cool, still fine. 35 to 40, your eggs start depleting at a much higher rate. Some women actually start struggling to fall pregnant at that time. They take fertility supplements. They go to doctors. They aggressively now with their newfound husbands trying to fall pregnant. Of course, there's flashbacks now of the times you were on contraceptives, morning afters, the implants, the patches, the loop, some of the abortions you had that you didn't tell anyone about at Mary Stopes. Age 40 and above, you become a high-risk pregnancy. 45 to 50, it's flames. And sure, late 40s, 50s, you're now beginning to get ready for menopause. Biologically, your body is now preparing to release the last of your eggs. You will no longer have periods anymore because now your body can no longer create life. And a lot of people will have missed the windows biologically. Some of these young girls that fall pregnant at school, they can pop babies easily and they're back at school the next day, 2 days, because biologically, naturally, your body can carry life. Girls in high school don't struggle to carry a baby to full term and they give birth easily. The body's, it's good. You struggle in your 30s, like pregnancy is hell. On top of that, like you have to go to work, you have to catch taxis or you have to drive, you have to deal with, that's not nature and that's not biology. That's capitalism, that's westernization, that's what we call civilization, but it's not. It's actually oppressive, robotic. And there is a depopulation agenda. You know, the conditioning that's out there pushes with its might to get you to make as few babies as possible because they've realized that they can't create jobs for all of you. And that's why this employment thing is such a huge thing. Jobs, jobs, jobs. Our ancestors didn't have jobs. They had land, or they had access to land. Let me not say they had land, because the concept of having land is a privatization concept. They had access to land. The land is for all of us. It's for the monkeys and the birds, and they had access to land, and they got to enjoy the land. Before we got civilized and started farming, we were able to hunt wildlife out there, and we were able to find the types of trees that bore, as is English, that could bear fruit. We managed to, over time, teaching each other, learn which bulbs and shrubs and bark and various things could be used as food, as medicine, etc. Obviously, today we farm, today we are civilized, we are progressive, we have technology and all these cool things. So we don't even farm our own food now. You walk into Woolworths and you pick up the food that has been made somewhere, hydroponic, what farming, you know. And our food comes from there. If not even walking into Woolies, you just get on your phone, boop, 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 Uber Eats, or you go to the Checkers app, or these new apps that Pick and Pay and all these guys have, and they deliver your food. Just like that, you know. So we live in this world now where things have completely shifted, and yet we still have to make babies. Because if we stop making babies, we become extinct, like the dodo. Like the supposed dinosaurs, of which I don't believe that dinosaurs ever existed. But like the dinosaurs, like the quagga, and other animals that we've supposedly lost, and plant species and bird species that we've lost, we become extinct. The British colonizers almost completely wiped out the Aborigines in Australia. Luckily, some Aborigines exist, but they are a crazy minority. Christopher Columbus and the other Spaniards, the boys, they almost completely wiped out the Native Americans, what they called Indians in the USA. They called them Indians because they got lost. They were going to India. GPS signal lost. GPS ever to North America, where they found dark-skinned people like, hey, we're in India. That's why those people were called Red Indians, for those of you that maybe may not know. And they almost completely wiped them out as well. They're also an extreme minority, that side. You know, you can get extinct. There are families that have been... Nah, let me not speak about the families. I want to have a lot of children because I believe making life is important. And I'm glad that, you know, sometimes you have to be super, super rich and super, super famous for people to listen to what you have to say. Because if you're broke and you're nobody, people think you're crazy. But when you're Elon Musk and you're the richest man in the world, and you've created like great engineering pieces and electric cars and robots, not robots, rockets. All of a sudden, Elon Musk has said that human beings need to make babies because parts of the world have got a depopulation, or they've got a decreasing population. If you and I, as my partner, have one child, that's two of us who have one child. We have not replaced ourselves. And if that one child has one child we have a negative growth as a population. If you and I have two children, all we have done is replace ourselves. So the population won't move, it will stagnate. When we die, there's only two. It's only when we have a third child, the two of us, that we're now going up and creating more life. And let's take it back to me quickly. I've got 6 children from 4 mothers. Me, as the father, 4 mothers, that makes 5. We have got collectively 6 children. That means we've only replaced ourselves plus 1. So as far as anyone potentially saying, yo, all these babies, those babies, I've only created 1 extra child. Because these other 5 have only replaced us. When I die, when the mothers die, we have 5 children that have replaced us, and then an extra child, and that's it. It's like basic maths, but some people won't get it. So Elon Musk himself, I spoke about Nick Cannon, I spoke about future. Elon Musk has had 8 children. He lost one of his kids. Some of his kids have been made through IVF, in vitro. He wants to have more children. You know, understandably. Kanye West and Kim have got a couple of kids as well. You know, and some of us understand, and some people don't understand. And some people are like, no, there's so many children in the world. There are so many orphans. Why should we have kids? It's so selfish. I'm like, I don't think these people have studied the data intensely. Number one, as a planet, we're not overpopulated. Of the habitable land, because some of our land is not habitable. There's too much ice, there's rocks, it's mountainous. You know, of course, some of the land maybe also includes like water bodies, rivers, lakes, dams, whatever. Of the habitable land on planet Earth, human beings, us, only live on about 1.5%. The data has come out that if you were to take all human beings on the planet and you were to put them next to each other, all 7.8 billion of us, we would fill up Los Angeles, which is a city in America. One city. We wouldn't fill up the United States of America. We wouldn't fill up Africa. We wouldn't fill up China. We would only fill up one city, Los Angeles in America. That's how few we are. And for you to maybe have a better sense of what I'm speaking about, if you can afford it, please take drives around South Africa. Drive around South Africa, move from town to town, city to city, and look at the vast pieces of land that are sitting there. Some of it is farmland, some is game reserve land, some is just chilling. We have a lot of land in this country. We've got about 60 million people, and we've got about 1.2, I think, million square kilometers of land. If you divide it equally, of which, of course, not all the land is habitable, all of us are entitled individually, not families, individually, including children. All of us are entitled to, I think, about 1 hectare or 2 hectares each. 1 hectare is the size of a rugby field or 2 rugby fields. That's meant to be your piece of land if we were to divide it equally. But some of us live in flats on top of each other. Some live on RTPs, small pieces of land. Some are cramped up families of 10 in a small stand. There's a lot of land just here. Then you go to the rest of Africa. Then you go to the rest of the world. There is land, boy. But we don't use it. And we haven't been spread out. And the capitalist agenda has gotten us all to be cramped in cities because apparently that's where the money is. That's where the cool people are. That's where the economic activity is. And we have not spread ourselves to explore and fully develop the land. That's just land. We're not overpopulated. That's a lie. The agenda out there, of course, if it's not through medication, which has side effects which kill us, if it's not through various wars where we kill each other, if it's not through drugs where we kill ourselves, if it's not through social media, all these other things that pollute our minds so that we become depressed and suicidal. If it's not through all of that, there's an agenda for us to have fewer children. And the biggest thing today is, well, I don't have money. You need to be comfortable and have money to have kids. You don't. But it's a conversation a lot of you struggle to have. And when I speak about it, it's like I'm speaking from a place of privilege. I'm extremely privileged, but in my privilege, I understand that there's a parallel world out there and I'm trying to live in both worlds. I want to live in the Elon Musk futuristic world where everything is just at a click of a phone. You don't even need to click. You just speak to your phone and it responds back. But I'm also building another life here where I'm going back to being an ape, where I can have as many children as I want. As many children as I want and be like inkunzi, a bull that breeds every month, impregnating different fertile, strong women. You know, and have those children and understand that those children are not going to wear nappies, Pampers and those things. They're not going to be drinking formula. They're not going to be staying in fancy homes. We're going to be having children as naturally as possible and we're going to deliver them ourselves. And we're going to eat natural organic food that we grow and take natural organic herbs. There are 2-3 women that I highly admire, and I shouldn't even. One of them being Ayanda Boroto. I think her surname is Boroto. She played one of Umpiake's wives on Isbaya. Beautiful and great, beautiful woman, great actress. I believe she delivered her children with a midwife at home. I think she may have 3 or 4 children. She's made some great videos on Facebook, and I think she's written a book as well. There's a lady I met. I'm not going to mention her name, but she's quite a force politically, business-wise, who delivered her 3 sons by herself. The first one, she had a midwife at her home. The second one, she had a midwife on standby in her home. She delivered herself. The third one, there was no one. It was just her by herself. And she planned these things. She'd done the research. She'd spoken to people. And she also, when I spoke to her, I was still relatively young when I met her. She told me that this concept of lying on your back when you give birth to a child is not natural. You're meant to squat, uqoshame, when you're giving birth, because that opens up the gate. It opens up your pelvic bone so that the baby can, not lying on your back trying to put, imagine trying to take a shit while lying on your back. Does that even make sense? You have to squat so that the excretion can come out in a natural way downwards. She delivered her third child by herself. There's a lady, a youngish lady, so she's early 30s, who accidentally delivered her own child. She was planning to deliver in a hospital. It was her second child. Her parents were not around. Her first child was around, but the child was maybe 4 or 5. Her water broke while she was in the house. She watched some movies. She went and she boiled water in a kettle. She got scissors. She went to the bathroom. She got towels. And she delivered her own baby by herself in the bathroom. She told the child to go and find neighbors next door, and they eventually called an ambulance or whatever. But she delivered her baby herself. It sounds fucking scary, and it sounds fucking hectic. But that's who we are as a species. Monkeys, chimpanzees, elephants, giraffe, lions, all the animals out there do not have artificial intervention in childbirth. It's natural. And as humans today, it's unfathomable, the idea of not having medical aid, the idea of not having a gynae, a midwife, a private hospital. It's unfathomable. It's crazy. Oh my God. How the hell did they do it? They did it the same way our great-grandparents did it. Some of us, our grandmothers did it. I know my mother's grandmother used to deliver children. It was a natural skill that we had. Making babies, planting seeds, sperm inside a woman's vagina into her uterus to create life, and for her to develop and grow this life force inside her, and then to let it out so that it can become a fruit in itself and become its own great. That's the most natural thing on earth. Not dreaming about being a CEO, that's manufactured. Not dreaming about having a nice car, that's manufactured. Not dreaming about traveling the world, that's manufactured. Not dreaming about speaking a good language, getting 100% for maths, owning as much money as possible, having shares in companies, having a dream, getting the nicest threads. All of that is manufactured. What is real is us planting in each other and creating life forces so that we can breed more animals that are human beings, and then raise those animals to become as strong and independent and beautiful and healthy and happy as possible, so that they can keep humanity going and so that they can help us in whatever we're doing. Some of us were born and we didn't know that later on we would become the pillars that our families rely on. When our mothers and grandmothers are sick, we're the ones fetching their medicine. We're the ones bathing our fathers when they're dying. We're the ones that are out there toiling so that they can eat. We're the ones making sure that certain things are being done. We're the ones going to fetch knowledge and sharing it with the rest of the family. Like, they gave birth to a small seedling and a tree that has grown to become something really powerful. So we have to give birth to those things that will become bigger than us and greater than us, and that will also teach us. My own mother is now learning from me through watching my videos and my interviews with DJ Sbu and the Virtual Mkuku, watching some of my interviews on my own YouTube channel, Penuel the Black Pen. People are learning from me on my TikTok, on my Instagram, on my Twitter. There are people that are in my WhatsApp group, which is 100 Rand per month, and they're learning from me. Did my mother ever know and plan that I would give birth to a child who would travel the world and acquire all this knowledge and then come back and give it to me and teach me? And my mom, from being a mother and a parent, turns into my child, where I now educate her, teach about technology, where I now become her driver and I drive her around, where I now feed her, I buy things for her, whatever. I'm going to be in Durban this weekend. I'm going to be in Durban and I'm flying my mom down. I've flown my mom to Cape Town, Durban, to the Eastern Cape. You know, it's filled my heart with pride because she gave birth to a healthy fruit, and I'm building myself into becoming a great tree for her. I'm also planning to take 2 of my mom's sisters. They've never been on an airplane before. And unfortunately, for various reasons, their children can't take them on a plane. So I'm going to, on behalf of my mother, take her sisters on an airplane. and fly them down to Durban for the first time. It's fucking exciting. But that's the beauty of ukuzala. Ukuzala ukuzelula. That was the saying, because back in the day, when you had a child, you were giving birth to a cook, you were giving birth to a nanny, you were giving birth to a cleaner, you were giving birth to a herdsboy, you were giving birth to a warrior, you were giving birth to a midwife, you were giving birth to a business builder, you were giving birth to assets. Your children were meant to be your soldiers and your employees and an extension of the tree that you already are, and become these branches that build something great for you. And we've lost it. And when I speak about having more children and the fact that I've got 6 children from 4 mothers, it's insane. It's like I'm fucking crazy. And I speak obviously on behalf of women. One of my friends, a female friend, I think she's got 4 children now from 3 fathers. And she gets dragged a lot. Luckily, I always remind her that great women like an Erykah Badu, I think, I could be wrong, could have 4 children from 3 fathers as well. Brilliant mind, great musician, great businesswoman, great warrior, mind changer, Erykah Badu, leader, Bubesi. Erykah Badu is an alpha. That's how she could attract a Common. That's how she could attract an Andre 3000. She's an alpha. She's main. Lauryn Hill is an alpha. She managed to have 5 children with one of Bob Marley's sons, Rohan. Why not? Why not? Because you realize the power and you realize men are scared. Should a woman, I date a woman, we have a child, and then for various reasons we break up. Should she now be stuck having 1 child because our relationship didn't work out? Even though she's yearning to be a mom to more children. All because society is going to demonize her. Smarties babies. You, oh baba bangaki, you, manje oh baba bayaphuma bayangena nale ngane. Times have changed. Women get to date and fuck whoever they want. They do it. So why can't they have children with different men? Because it's not working. So I speak on their behalf. I speak on behalf of Abafuetu that aren't as articulate as me, that don't have platforms like I do, that aren't as privileged as I am, to just explain that some of us love having children, man. Some of us understand the value of having children outside of the noise of money and conditioning. And the reality is, we're not going to get to see all our children. I don't live with my kids, for example. I live with 2 of them, and they're hopefully coming back next year. And I get to see my youngest every other day because I have easy access to him in Joburg. And now that I'm going to Durban this weekend, I'm hoping to see 2 of my kids down there. I've got access to my kids thanks to their mothers, except for one mom, sadly. Rolls eyes. I'm hoping that my son will grow up and be strong and come find his father, and we will find each other. And then I'll begin implanting and training him to become the warrior that I've always wanted him to be. I've got access to my kids, but the reality is I'm never going to see them the way I'd love to, or the way we've been conditioned. Times have changed. Luckily, we have technology, so I video call them. We chat. Unkunzi no Africa in China, I give them homework. They send me videos. They update me. I see what they're up to, what they're doing. They tell me what they're learning at school, their experiences. So that's pretty awesome. So thanks to technology for that. But they're not around, and that's fine. That's a limitation. And it's going to be a limitation. You can be monogamous and have 1 woman, but have a highly demanding career and travel the world, and you're never around for your kids. There are monogamous couples who put their kids in boarding school because they have demanding careers or because they just don't have time to parent. For whatever reason, that is valid. Then some of you have got a present father in the house, but he may as well not be there because he comes home at 7, he watches TV or YouTube, he's on his phone, on weekends he's drinking with the boys, he's watching soccer, you guys go to church. He's there in body, but in substance he's not there. There are women who are there in body but are not there. The nanny is doing everything. Or their mothers, if they are blessed to live with their mothers do everything. Or some of these women ship the kids back to the grandparents. Which is another conversation we need to have, that I think children are meant to be raised by grandparents and not by the parents. I think the parents are meant to work and the grandparents are meant to raise the kids. I really want my children to have children as early as possible. If they are mentally ready, physically ready, from age 16, my kids have a thumbs up to start breeding. If not 18, if not 20, if not push it out to 25, that's fine. And I want them to have the comfort that my father has said, He would like us to have children and that he will help us to raise them. They don't need to have money. I'll make a plan. That's on me. As long as I'm alive and I have and some of my family members, my mom, my brother, my sister are extremely supportive and they're willing to help raise my children and my grandchildren. That's the power of having a beautiful, supportive family that you speak to and you get them to buy into your crazy ideologies. Marriage comes in to lock us to one person. Then there's the arguments around polygamy and stuff. It's fine. And I don't want to defend the men who want to be polygamous because most men struggle with being responsible for one woman. You can't want to fuck all the chicks around and you're like, yeah, but monogamy is unnatural. No, dog. No, dog. You want to sleep around because monogamy is not natural. Don't just sleep with those women. Be responsible for them. Take care of them emotionally. Provide for them financially. Be there when they need you. Then I can say, yeah, no, Donna, you're ready to have more than one partner. But your only defense for polygamy is so that you can go around and fuck these girls. But you won't provide financially for them. You won't be there emotionally for them. You're scared of fucking getting them pregnant. No. That's childish. That's immature. That's you wanting to have your cake and eat it. It's convenient and it's bullshit. Stop hiding. You're a fucking man whore. You want to fuck girls, but you don't want the responsibility of taking care of a partner. A real polygamist, and I've met a lot of good men who are polygamists, they carry that weight of taking care of their women and their children. They carry it, boy. What did I say? I said adulting is easy. If you are an adult, being a man and a father and a husband is easy if you have the maturity and the means and the intelligence to fight and do that. Same with being a mother and a wife. A lot of you girls out there, of course, want to fucking indoor must men, the men of today. And what are you doing, Siswan? Because you've outsourced everything yourself. Children are being raised by a nanny. Your man is eating out because you're not cooking every day. Someone that's washing his underpants and ironing his clothing. He's got a female PA. There's women that he works with as colleagues because you can't help him build an empire. Because you're so fixated working for another man in another company. You don't want to work for your man and help him build so that you guys can build an empire too. Why are you not his PA? Why are you not his business partner? You'd rather work for another man. Yeah, but he won't. You've got excuses because, of course, you're also immature and childish. And you hide behind rubbish and women empowerment and feminism. Because you can't be woman enough to stand up and fucking be a leader as well as a woman. That's why some of you also are getting surrogates. You can't even carry a baby. And you guys want C-sections. Ooh, I don't want a baby to spoil my figure. Bitch. You're not a real woman. Speak about real men. It's not a real man. You're not a real woman. You're scared of what your body was naturally designed for. Petrified because you're worried about looking good for Instagram. So that other niggas can fucking perv over you. So you can have 1,000 likes. You want to look good for the world. You're a fucking porn star. That's pornography. That's why in Islam, with the Muslim, that's why they cover themselves. Because for the women, and I'm not saying it's right, by the way. I believe in being liberal. But being liberal comes with consequences. The reason they cover themselves in the fucking ninja, you know, the Muslim women are ninjas. You know, they fucking these ninja shit. It's because they believe that their bodies are preserved for their men. Only my husband should see me in my natural naked beauty, not other men out there. You guys are porn stars on fucking Instagram. Here we are, fucking. That's why you fucking want a small incision here, C-section, and you're like, oh, I'd rather get a surrogate. You guys have lost it completely. And some of us, look, we've lost it as well, but we're trying to hold on to at least the things that are important, which, like I said, is having children. Money is a big one. We're never going to have enough money. And the system is designed so you don't have money. Luckily for the poor, government can raise your babies. Yo, in this country, you fucking won. Government will make sure that you get free healthcare. Government will make sure that after your kids are born, they earn a grant so you can buy nappies and formula and whatever else you want. Your kids go to a free school where they eat for free. Some of these schools give out free uniform. And then when your child is done with basic education, government then gives them NSFAS so that they can study in tertiary for free. And then after tertiary, if they don't have jobs, government has now come up with this thing where they'll give them 350 Rand for free just for being fucking poor. Jesus! It's a fucking party in South Africa. South Africa is a fucking party. But this stuff obviously comes at the cost of completely destroying your brain cells, because you become so highly dependent on the state that no matter what politicians do and say, getting a jab, you can't move here, you can't do this, you can't move because you're a child. They own you, they own your children, sadly. But some of us, with the little bit that we have, we're willing to sacrifice and compromise. My kids won't go to an expensive Saint what private school because I've decided to have a lot of children. So I have to be practical and realistic. I'll send them to schools I can afford. I can afford with their mothers. And I'm spoiled. Oh, fuck. I'm spoiled. I'm what's termed by society as a good-looking man. I speak well, highly educated. I have the means to make money. So unlike other guys, I get to attract a better quality of woman out there. I get to have like good-looking, intelligent women. You know, it's thanks to my ancestors, to my parents, I guess, for making me, that I have these gifts. And obviously, I've also put in the work. I've realized the importance of, so I've gotten these looks, let me try and take care of them. I've gotten this brain, let me preserve it and let me add on to it. And it's something I teach my kids every day, that you guys didn't choose to be good-looking. It's because of your parents. So you must take care of that, and you must work out. You must gym and make sure that your kids also inherit a good body. You know, you guys are naturally smart and you do well at school. That's not what you're doing. It's because of your parents. You guys have an obligation and a responsibility to take care of your mind, and then to read books and to watch educational content so that your kids can inherit a great mind as well. But I have this privilege of being able to attract good-looking women who happen to also be very hardworking. I'm actually attracted to independent women. I struggle with abo yebo baba. I know my ifunayo baba. Otherwise, I'd probably have 50 kids, because there'd be all these girls who are just like, oh my gosh, Pen, I want your babies. And I'd go around fucking the whole world. But I'm quite selective, you know. So my children's mothers are incredibly beautiful, incredibly intelligent. They come from very, very strong family structures and support systems. They all have their own ambitions, you know. The one obviously teaches. She comes from a family of business people, but she teaches. She makes her own money. She travels the world. The one works as an analyst in financial services. She makes really good money. The one works for government. You know, she makes really good money. She's a project manager. The one, I think, is a biochemist. You know, so they make money. And my point with the money thing was, I'm lucky that I don't have to carry the load alone, because the mothers also chip in because they have the money. So we're lucky and our kids will be privileged. But assuming for whatever reason the mothers didn't have jobs or they didn't have money, I would take my kids to schools that I can afford. If it's a no-fee school, that's fine. And because I'm intelligent, I'll then know that when my kids come home, we'll put in the work so that they have extra training at home. So we do extra maths, extra English, extra science, we do extra accounting. And then they watch the YouTube videos and they do the online courses. And then I would get them to spend time with kids from better schools to find out, what are you learning? What are you guys doing in school? And I would work hard to get my kids to move from those schools to get bursaries into better public schools, and then if needs be, the proper private schools. Because I've got a model that none of my kids will get into university unless they get a scholarship by the time they hit matric, which means it will be their own achievement. So if they don't have a scholarship, bursary, they're not going to university. I will only pay for a child's tertiary education if the child has shown a strong commitment to their education and their academics, and they have a very, very deep desire to pursue a certain profession, and they are just short of money. I will be like, my child is a fighter. They may be not that good academically, but shame, this child has proven, Uti Baba, I really want this thing and I'm willing to put in the work. Then I will pay for that child. But otherwise, no. Because the other thing is, I want my children to come and work for me as well. I'm raising my children to not be beggars for other people out there. Fucking CVs and I'm going for a job interview. No, you're not. You're coming to work for your father. I've got a business. If I don't have a business, maybe your mom has a business. If your mom doesn't have a business, someone in my network has a business. You're going to work for us. You're not going to beg anyone. And in the way that I'm going to raise you as my child, all of these people and myself will know exactly what your capabilities are, because you will have been given responsibilities. You will have had your own projects. You would have made your own money over the years. If anything, my children by the age of 18 should already be making their own money. I don't even want them to be working for me. They must take whatever they're doing and come and plug it into what we're doing. If I'm making money off YouTube, my kids must be making money off YouTube. And then we must combine our channels or create a reality TV show for you. If I'm writing books, my kids must be learning to fucking at least write essays. And later on, I must teach them how to create their own book, self-publish, print their own books and market them online, and maybe set up book launches and get their books into bookstores and become authors. If I'm running some other business, maybe I have property that I rent out. My kids must learn from a young age how to manage property. At the very least, they must be like, look, I'm going to become an estate agent because I've already learned how to manage tenants. I've learned how to deal with money. I've learned how to fundraise. I've learned how to, etc., etc. It's what I want. It's how I'm raising my kids. It's what I call intentional parenting under penalism under penalism principles. Intentional parenting. What is your goal for your kids? Oh, I just want my kids to be like happy and I want them to be exposed. Nah, fuck that. I can tell you now, the system doesn't think like that of your kids. The system thinks these kids must go to school. They must get a tertiary qualification so that they can come and work for the system and make us rich. We're not like, oh, whatever they know. You're the one that doesn't really know because you've been conditioned to not have a standpoint with your kids that you made, that you are raising with your stress, your efforts, your resources. I have a plan for my kids, and my kids will only leave my plan if they have proven that they are proficient in whatever other thing they want to do, if they've shown a talent. Unkunz, for example, Unkunz is a great soccer player. So if he gets signed by a Kaizer Chiefs, by a Sundowns, that's his achievement. He can go and do that. Once his career is over, he must come back. Or like I said, if the child has shown a keen sense of, Dad, I want to study engineering, and they show that they watch the videos and they start doing the work and they win certain quizzes or whatever, and they're like, I'm going to this engineering thing, I'll be like, I love you very much. Go and become the greatest you can be as an engineer, and I will support you. And I hope at some point you can build an engineering business and bring it into the family sphere so that some of your other siblings and other people can join your business and also help you become engineers. That's the beauty of intentional parenting. You know exactly what you're doing. You have a plan. And you've also got worst case scenarios. Worst case, my kids will become teachers. Worst case, my kids will become nurses or police officers, whatever. It's fine because my kids have been to the shooting range already. They know how to handle guns. They know the law. They know how to fight, basically, so they can easily become cops or security guards or whatever. Intentional parenting. Anyways, I'll speak about this concept of having lots of kids, number one, and having kids with different mothers. I still care about the mothers of my children. I say that because, number one, I don't post them as a request from them. They've never wanted to be posted, and I can respect that. But I will post my kids. I don't even care how they feel about that. These are my kids as well. My social media, I'll post them. If they don't want to post their kids, if they want to post their kids and put smiley faces on their faces, that's up to them, of which they don't do it, but it's just an example. I care about them in that regard, and I've also cared about their... It's meant to be a privilege and an honor to have a child with me, and for me to pick them to be the mothers of my kids. It shouldn't feel like a free-for-all. Oh, I'm just another baby mama. You know, they need to look around and look at the other mothers of my children and be like, these are quality women. You know, if I have Penel's children and these other women have Penel's children, that speaks volume about my caliber as a woman. Imagine me getting Beyonce Knowles pregnant, getting Kim Kardashian pregnant, getting Serena Williams pregnant, etc., etc. Like these are alphas, these are superstars, they're brilliant genetics. And you're having children with those women, like the next chick is looking and saying, fuck me. If this guy impregnates me, that means like I'm at the same caliber as those amazing women. It's one of the reasons why women are willing to sleep with men who are dating like beautiful chicks or celebrity chicks, because there's like a portfolio of evidence that if Penel is fucking Minnie Dlamini and Boiti and Bonang, if he fucks me, then, and you see some of these girls like name drop, It's when he used to date Minnie and, you know, when he was Bonang, and it's like, oh, so this is like something that you use to, like, you name drop so that you can put yourself in that league. And other people like even speak about it like that. Oh yeah, she's dating this guy who apparently used to date like Bonang and Minnie and Boiti. It becomes a cool thing. So there's something about a portfolio of evidence and the caliber of women I want to have children with. But I am trying to get to a point where I break my mind for that care, because I do want to have a lot of children. Ideally, I'd like to have 100. I know it's crazy, and it would mean that like I have to get a girl pregnant every month for the next couple of years. But I would like to have 100 children. It's currently impractical. So I'm aiming for 20. 20 is also a bit of a reach. So I'm currently just trying to have 10. If I can get to 10 kids, that's fine. Look, even if I die tomorrow, I have 6 amazing children from 4 amazing mothers. So my kids will be fine. But I'd like to have 10 children now. After 10, I'd like to get to 20. And then if I can get to 20, I'd like to push. I'm not yet ready for the conversation around sperm donation and IVF. But it might be something I'll consider in future in terms of having children. But I would like my children to have as much access to me as possible. I'd like them to work for me or their mom or our families as much as possible. Failing which, of course, I have the internet and they can watch some of my videos around my crazy dad and some of his crazy ideas, you know, just to be like, you know, I got to learn from this crazy man because he created these videos. Whether they agree with me or not, whether they think I'm crazy or not, it doesn't matter. But at least they'll be like, at least I know what my father stood for. You know, I can now choose if I want to agree with him, deviate from whatever his plan was, or whatever the case may be, you know. So I'm hoping in time that I will find the right type of women who want to have children with me. I don't care if those women have children, very chilled with that. But the right type of woman, beautiful, great body, decent shape, decent health, intelligent, of course, not just academically, but have the ability to solve problems and make decisions and speak up. You know, all the mothers of my kids are very strong. You know, they're not, like I said, they're not so yebo baba. You know, they're extremely, extremely strong. Be able to speak for yourself. And where you can't, of course, I will try and train you. I will make sure that you're strong, and I'm hopefully going to inspire you to also own your destiny as a woman and raise your kids the way you also want, which may be different from me because they're your kids as well. You can raise them the way you want. And if you want them to go to tertiary, that's fine. You're their mom. You know, it's a collaboration. You know, Penwell featuring. Come on. It's kind of project. It's a collaborator, Baba. You know, so this is not a video for me like asking women to hit my DMs. But I'm hoping that in my journeys, I will find the type of women who listen to me and think I'm not as crazy as other people might say. And who are like, you know, in this country of 60 million, in this world of 7.8 billion, if I can get access to this guy, because I think he's got good genes, I think he's got a good head on his shoulders, I think he's practical, I think he's willing to listen, he's willing to partner, and if I'm going to have a child that's going to outlive us, because we're only going to be here for the next 40, 50 years, 60 years maybe, and then we die. 3, 4, 5 generations from now, the kids may not even know who we were and what we were about. So if I have that opportunity, why not him? Why not have a child with Penwell? A child that will be a great human being with a great father and a great support structure and great siblings. Great siblings as well. So yeah, those were just some of my thoughts today. I wanted to post this yesterday morning, but we got distracted by the Guptas and Cyril. So yeah. Guys, go make babies, man. For those of you who are lesbians, those of you who are gay, you still have a responsibility to make babies, because there were people that had sex for you to be here. So please don't be selfish. What would be cool is if lesbians and gays could find each other and have children with each other, because they're obviously not attracted to each other, so it should just be co-parenting. Because understand, as much as you're gay, there's a chance that your siblings are not gay, which means you're different. So it can't be that just because you're gay, your kids are going to be gay. Your kids might be straight. Or even if they're gay, it's fine. But let them understand that there's a responsibility to take this privilege of being born and pass it on and allow another child to be born. You can fuck other niggas' bums and suck dick. It's your life, homie. Do you, homie? but just make children. Somizi did it. I think it's pretty awesome. And other people have done it as well. So, you know, do your bit for humanity. Give back. Make babies. And I hope my video has inspired some of you who were scared to go home to your partners today and be like, or even now via text, be like, babe, I think I'm ready. I think I'm ready. Let's make a baby. And where we're not sure, let's try and speak to this panel guy and just ask for advice, because it's probably going to be a roller coaster. I love being a father. I was born to be a father. I love parenting and all its different challenges. I've written a book on parenting with Penwell. And many on. That's my book. Hey, fuck these kids. Parenting with Penwell. These are my 6 beautiful kids on the sides here. That's me obviously in the middle there with my son, my daughter, and my nephew, Uzita. My brother also loves being a father. My mom loves being a grandmother. I've got a great support base. My sister loves being an aunt. I've got a book on parenting. I have to update it. It's a bit outdated. I need to write more books on parenting, more books on being a father as well. And I want to host more sessions where we just speak about parenting. When I was in Soweto last week, speaking to the people that came through to see me, there were 2 ladies where we had conversations around fathers, absent fathers, parenting, etc. You know, beautiful, beautiful conversations. I want to unlock your minds away from capitalism and Western thinking. We need to create spaces where our kids can play with each other and grow together. We can't just rely on schools out there. We can create schools within our homes. Technology is here. We can support each other and bring back this thing of the child being raised by a village. Just make sure of the village, of course. You know, but I hope I've inspired you guys to make children. It's important. And for the beautiful, intelligent, strong, independent women out there who think, I'm the guy. Yeah, but like on the real, let's meet up. Let's go for coffee. Let's talk about the idea of having kids. And let's take it from there. And we'll tell like crazy stories about like how we made up through a Facebook video, a YouTube video. And we've now created a life force. And that life force has become something great. You guys intentionally choose which careers you want to go into. You intentionally choose your business partners. You intentionally choose which religions you want to follow. You intentionally choose your diets. You intentionally choose the clothing that you'll wear. Some of you intentionally choose the languages that you speak, the businesses you go into. Why not intentionally choose who you're going to have children with, which is something that is of fundamental importance, not just for you, but for future generations. It's a very, very important thing, and I think we need to take it with the seriousness that is required. Look forward to reading some of your comments on this video and making more videos to speak about these conversations as well. Penuel the Black Pen. Have a great day. Cheers.